The Bhagavata Purana as related by Brahma to Narada. Skanda2, chapter 4 to 6. The creation. Parikshit next asked, how did Bhagavan create this universe? How does he preserve it? How will he draw it in? What are the Shaktis by which he manifests himself directly and indirectly? What are his actions? Shuka replied, these were the very questions asked by Narada of his father Brahma. Brahma replied, wishing to become manifold, the Lord of Maya influenced Kala, Karma, and Swabhava by his own Maya. Kala is the flow of time and is, according to the Bhagavath Purana, the Shakti of Purusha. Karma is the Adrishta of Jiva, or the Jiva record of the previous Kalpa. Swabhava is the essence of Prakriti. Under the influence of Purusha, the first disturbance in the equilibrium of the gunas follows from Kala, transformation follows from Swabhava, and the development of Mahatattva follows from Karma. When Rajas and Tamas manifest themselves in Mahatattva, it is transformed into Ahankara Tattva with predominant Tamas. Ahankara Tattva by transformation becomes threefold: Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika, that is Jnana Shakti, potency to produce the Devas, Kriya Shakti, potency to produce the Indriyas, and Dravya Shakti, potency to produce the Bhutas, respectively. Tamasa Ahankara was first transformed into Akasha, Akasha into Vayu, Vayu into Agni, Agni into Apas, and Apas into Prithvi. Sattvika Ahankara was transformed into Manas and the 10 Vaikarika Devas. The Vaikarika Devas are the Adhidevas, or the energy-giving gods of the 10 Indriyas. Sensing is in man, or Adhyatma. It is of the object, or Adhibhuta, and is caused by Vaikarika Deva, or Adhideva. Thus the object seen is Adhibhuta, the sight is Adhyatma, and the manifesting energy of sight is Adhideva. The Vaikarika Devas are Dik for hearing, Vayu for touch, Sun for sight, Varuna for taste, Ashwini Kumaras for smell, Agni for speech, Indra for Pani or action of the hand, Upendra or Vishnu for Pada or action of the foot, Mitra or Yama for Payu or excretion, and Prajapati for Uphasta or generation. Rajasika Ahankara was transformed into the 10 Indriyas. The foregoing can be shown. Purusha, by when the Kala causing disturbances in the equilibrium of gunas, Swabhava gets transformed, and the details of transformation right from Mahat and goes downwards. So from Mahat, Ahankara is born. From Ahankara, Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamasika gunas have evolved. From Sattvika or Vaikarika, Jnana Shakti, Manas, and 10 Vaikarika Devas or Adhidevas have born. From Kriya Shakti or Rajasika, 10 Indriyas are born. And from Tamasika, Dravya Shakti, Akasha is born. And from Akasha, Vayu. And from Vayu, Agni, Apas, and Prithvi. This is the Karana creation, or the creation of the materials of the individual creation. They could not, however, unite and proceed further with the work of creation. The Shakti of Bhagavan then permeated them, and the cosmic egg or Brahmanda was formed. The egg remained for 1,000 years unconsciously submerged in the primal waters. Purusha then influenced Kala, Karma, and Swabhava to send forth vitality into it. It is this Purusha that emerged from the egg with thousands of heads and thousands of limbs and is known as Virat Purusha. The 7 lokas and the 7 patalas are parts of his body. This is the first avatara, the Adipurusha, that creates preserves, and destroys. All the objects of creation are his avataras or shaktis or vibhutis. The Leela avatars of Virat Purusha are special incarnations for the preservation of the universe are detailed below. Preservation by Leela avatars. Skanda2, Chapter 7. Varaha. In order to raise the earth from waters, the Purusha adopted the body of Varaha or boar and killed with his tusks the first Daitya Hiranyaksha. Yajna. Yajna was born of Ruchi and Akuti. The Suyama Devas were born of Yajna. He dispelled the fears of Triloki. Kapila was born of Kardama Prajapati and his wife Devahuti. He taught Brahma Vidya to his mother. Dattatreya preached yoga to his disciples, who acquired powers and became liberated. The Kumaras, Sanat Kumara, Sanaka, Sanandana, and Sanatana. They completely promulgated the Atma Vidya, which had been lost in Pralaya. Naranarayana, they were born of Dharma, and his wife Murti, daughter of Daksha. Their tapas was so great that the Deva ladies could not shake it. Dhruva, though a boy, he could not bear the words of his stepmother. He went into the forests and made tapas. He was rewarded with ascent to Dhruvaloka, or the region of the polar star. Prithu, he milked out riches and edibles from the earth. Rishabha was son of Nabhi by Sudevi or Merudevi. He roamed about as Paramahansa. Hayagriva, this horse-headed avatara, appeared in the Vedic Yagna and promulgated the Vedas. Matsya, Vaivasvata Man found out this avatara at the end of a cycle of yugas. He preserved all beings and the Vedas from the waters of the deluge. Kurma, at the great churning of the ocean, the tortoise avatara supported the Mandara mountain. Nrisimha, the man-lion avatara, killed Hiranyakashipu. Hari saved the elephant king of the famous story of Gajendra Moksha. Vamana measured the Triloki by his 2 steps. Hansa related Bhakti Yoga, Jnana, and Bhagavata Purana to Narada, the presiding deity of each Manvantara. Dhanvantari promulgated the science of medicine. Parashurama suppressed the Kshatriyas, who became disregardful of the Brahmanas and Shastras. Rama destroyed Lanka and killed Ravana. Rama and Krishna, the 10th canto of Bhagavatham, is entirely devoted to their deeds. Vyasa divided the trunk of the Veda tree into several branches. Buddha, when the Asuras came to know the Vedic mysteries and to oppress people, Buddha incarnated himself in order to confound them by preaching a variety of bi-religions. Kalki will appear before the end of Kali Yuga to set things right. Besides these Leela avatars, there are Maya Guna avatars and Vibhutis or Shaktis. In creation, these are Tapas, Brahma, the Rishis, and the 9 Prajapatis. In preservation, they are Dharma, Vishnu, Manu, Devas, and kings. In Pralaya, they are Adharma, Shiva, serpents, and Asuras. O Narada, this is in brief the Bhagavata Purana. You relate it to others in a much more expanded form, so that people may have bhakti or divine attachment to Bhagavan. Thoughts on the above. The above account of creation relates to Triloki and to the dwellers of Triloki. After creation, some come down from the higher planes and hold responsible positions, as we have already seen. The Vaikarika Devas, who may be identified with the Vedic Devas, are created or rather manifested in the Triloki before the individual creation. They appertain to what the Purana calls Karana or casual or causal creation. The Vaikritika Devas and Devayonis, known as elemental in theosophical language, are created according to their karma in the previous kalpa and are subject to gradual evolution during the kalpa. The Vaikarika Devas, however, remain as they are during the whole of the kalpa. Similarly, the Devas of the higher planes, example Kumudas, Vibhus, Pratardhanas, Anjanabhas, and Pratithabhas of Maharloka, Brahma Purohitas, Brahma Kayikas, Brahma Mahakayikas, and Amaras of Janaloka, Abhaswaras, Mahabhaswaras, and Satya Mahabhaswaras of Tapasloka, and Achyutas, Shuddha Nibhasas, Satyabhas, and Sanjanis of Satyaloka. These are not affected by creation in Triloki. The dwellers of those lokas, other than devas, are also similarly not affected. The story of creation is a simple one. As the Linga Purana says, when earth is scorched up in the summer season, it becomes fallow, and the roots of vegetation remain underground. They, however, wait for a rainy season to germinate again and grow in all the varieties of the previous vegetation. Similarly, when the previous creation is burnt up by the fires of pralaya, the roots remain embedded in Prakriti, which becomes fallow. The fallowness is removed on the approach of the creative period or Kala. Kala, according to Bhagavatham, is a Shakti of Purush or the unmanifested logos. Then transformation follows in Prakriti according to Svabhava or the inherent nature of Prakriti and Karma, or the root record of the previous Kalpa gives shape to the transformation. Sridhara Swami quotes a shloka which says that there are three Purusha manifestations. The first Purusha is the creator of Mahat and other elemental principles. The second Purusha is the dweller of the cosmic egg. The third Purusha is the pervader of all beings. The first Purusha is the creator of Mahat and other elemental principles called Tattvas. The second Purusha is the dweller of the cosmic egg. The third Purusha is the pervader of all beings. Creation is divided into two stages. First, the creation of the principles themselves or tattvas, which unite to form globes and individuals. This is called Karana creation. Secondly, the creation of individuals and of globes. This is called Karya or resultant creation. Following the law of periodicity, the first Purusha energizes the latent karma or jiva record of the previous kalpa and prepares the ground for the development of that karma by setting Prakriti into active transformation. This is the first life wave which caused the principles to appear by themselves. The first Purusha permeated these principles as pure Atma. But the principles could not unite to make the forms and to make individuals and globes. Purusha as pure Atma could not guide them further, as the gulf between Purusha and Prakriti was too wide. So Purusha had to limit himself further by uniting with Mula Prakriti as one undivided whole, and so becoming the guiding principle of all individual workings in our universe, the pervader of all individuals and globes as Atma Buddhi. The universe as a whole is represented as an egg, and the second Purusha or Virata Purusha is the soul of that egg. Individuals and globes appear as germs in that egg, and all brought into manifestation in time by the third Purusha, Brahma. The second Purusha is called the first Avatara and the seed and resting place of all other Avataras. An Avatara is a highly evolved jiva that has attained the logic state, logoic state, and that comes down from his exalted position to serve the universe. Why is the second Purusha called an Avatara? The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad raises the wheel a little on this point. This was before Atma bearing the shape of man, the firstborn from the egg, the embodied soul, the Virat with heads and the other members of the body. Looking round, he beheld nothing but himself. He said first, "This am I," hence the name of I was produced. And because he, as the first of all of them, consumed by fire all the sins, therefore he is called Purusha. He verily consumes him who strives to obtain the state of Prajapati prior to him. Shankaracharya explains the underlined portion as follows. And because he, Prajapati in the former birth, which is a cause as the first of those who were desirous to obtain the state of Prajapati by the exercise of reflection on works and knowledge, namely, as the first of them. Of all those desirous of obtaining the state of Prajapati consumed by the perfect exercise of reflection in works and knowledge, all the sins of contact which are obstacles to the acquirement of the state of Prajapati, because such was the case, therefore he is called Purusha, because he, Pur, means first, did, Ush, burn. Therefore, by the words he consumes him. It is meant that the perfect performer obtains the highest state of Prajapati. He who is less perfect does not obtain it, and by no means that the less perfect performer is actually consumed by the perfect. Here the word Prajapati refers to the second Purusha. The state of the second Purusha is the highest achievement of Jiva. It is a meeting ground of Jiva and the Supreme Purusha. The second Purusha may be different for each Kalpa. It may be for each Brahmanda. He is the Ishvara, the Lord of our universe. He holds the whole creation unto his bosom and is the sustaining force of all. In the three aspects of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, he guides the creation, the preservation, and the dissolution of the universe. Those that could not attain his state, though they strove for it equally as eminent as the second Purusha, that are to become the second Purusha and perhaps another Kalpa or Brahmanda, are the Leela avatars. They remain merged in the second Purusha or Ishvara, and they manifest themselves in the universe only when a necessity arises for their manifestation. The Bhagavath contends that of all Leela avatars, only Krishna is Purusha himself, the others being only partial manifestations of Purusha. These are the parts and aspects of Purusha. Krishna is Bhagavan himself. Tamas is dark, opaque, and heavy on the physical plane, indolent and ignorant on the mental plane, non-perceptive on the spiritual plane. Rajas is translucent and constantly moving on the physical plane, distracted, constantly acquiring likes and dislikes, and exercising intellection on the mental plane, and partially perceptive on the spiritual plane. Sattva is light and transparent on the physical plane, cheerful and buoyant on the mental plane, and fully perceptive on the spiritual plane. True perception and real knowledge follow from Sattva. By partial understanding and semblance of knowledge, the results of Rajas, people become distracted and led astray. Tamas keeps down all beings and enchains them to materiality in the course of evolution, and there is a point in the downfall of beings as well as globes beyond which there is a complete breakdown. Sattva counteracts tamas and the preservation and improvement of the universe, rather of Triloki, therefore mean the infusion of sattva. Vishnu represents sattva, and so Vishnu is the preservative aspect of Virata Purusha. When Rajas and Tamas predominate in Triloki, when the lowest plane Bhur becomes heavy with Tamas, the Leela avatars appear and infuse Sattva into the lokas. Skanda 1, chapter 2 to 34. This preserver of lokas preserves the lokas by means of Sattva, by incarnating in Deva, animal, human, and other kingdoms as Leela avatars. The third Purusha is Brahma in creation, Vishnu in preservation, and Shiva in dissolution. Vishnu, as the Atma in each being, manifests himself in action, consciousness, and will. Brahma is the propelling power in the involution of beings, which gives them their physical body. Vishnu is the propelling force in the evolution of beings through physiological action, prana, sensation, intellect, and lastly, the development of the spiritual faculties. The Bhagavath Purana and its parts. Skanda2, chapter 10. The next question of Raja Parikshit was most comprehensive. It related to all knowledge of the universe in all details. In answering the question, Sukha related the whole of the Purana from beginning to end. In doing so, the Muni gave a short introduction as to the history of the Purana. When Brahma regained his drowsy consciousness at the dawn of the present Kalpa, he knew not how to bring back the former states of things. He practiced tapas. Then Bhagavan appeared and related to him the Bhagavata Purana. Brahma taught the Purana to his son Narada. Narada gave it to Vyasa and Vyasa to his son Shuka. The Purana has 10 parts. Sarga means the creation of the bhutas, tanmatras, indriyas, ahankara, and mahat, or of the materials that form individuals and the appearance of Virata Purusha. Next, Visarga, the individual creation by Brahma or the creation of the individual life forms. Sthana constitutes the preservation of the created beings in their own states by Bhagavan. Poshana, the divine favor to those that properly remain in their own states. Manvantara, the duties of the rulers of Manvantaras. Uti, desires that bind one to Triloki. Yishanukatha, stories of avatars and of the followers of Hari. Nirodha, the sleep of Hari and of all individual souls, a pralaya. Mukti, the continued perception of the identity of self and of Brahma. Ashraya, the final resort, Parabrahma or Paramatma, from whom creation and dissolution both proceed. This brings us to the end of the second skanda.